I'm Jonathan Watt with the Tara Group International. We hope you're enjoying our content, and if you are, please press the like button and subscribe to our channel. We're doing a historical series, and today looking at Advent, asking, what is Advent? Taking a historical look at this church season that involves waiting and hope. Every year in the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, Christians around the world enter a quiet and reflective and deeply symbolic season known as Advent. For many modern worshipers, it's associated with candlelight services, wreaths, devotional readings, some kind of a countdown and even countdown calendars. But behind these rich traditions lies a long and frankly fascinating history, one that's shaped by ancient Christian communities who sought to prepare their hearts for their anticipation and remembrance of the coming of Christ. So understanding Advent's origins help us appreciate its profound purpose today, which focuses again on waiting, watching, and preparing with hope. Let's take a journey through the centuries to explore how this beloved season came about. It involves a season of arrival and anticipation, as we've noted. Advent is a matter of looking ahead. The very word Advent comes from a Latin word adventus, which meant coming or arrival. And in Greek, the parallel term is parousia, a word that's often used in the New Testament to describe Christ's coming. And early Christians used the word, Greek or Latin, not only for the birth of Jesus, but also for his promised return yet to come. First Advent, Second Advent. So while Christmas celebrates the miracle of the incarnation, God entering the world as a child, Advent reminds believers that the story didn't end in Bethlehem, but it's a season rooted in this dual anticipation, the first coming, birth of Jesus, in a humble manger, but also remember there's the second coming, Christ's promised return to heal, restore, and redeem the entire creation. Now, we can look at some of the early origins of Advent going back to the 4th, 5th, even 6th century. Though there is no explicit mention of it in the earliest Christian writings, historians trace its origins to somewhere around the 4th and 5th centuries, particularly in Gaul, which is modern-day France, Spain, and Italy. And in its earliest form, Advent looked rather different back then. It was not tied directly to Christmas at first. It was closer to Lent, marked by fasting, repentance, and self-examination to a very, very serious level. It was designed to prepare believers for Epiphany, the celebration of Jesus' baptism, and if you will, public presentation. That was the original orientation of it. Now, by the 5th century or so, church councils began mentioning actually a 3-week period of preparation that more closely resembled today's Advent. Over time, as Christmas grew in liturgical significance, it seems Advent began to shift with it as well. Now, the medieval period saw an expansion of Advent practices. We're talking now roughly the 7th to the 15th centuries. And things were changing, as often happens in church history. By the 7th century, Advent had evolved into the 4-week season most churches have observed today. The Roman Church established a formal liturgical pattern, and the season took on a blended tone of penitence, expectation, and hope. Medieval Advent also saw the development of such beloved hymns that are still around today. You may know these, like O Come, Emmanuel, or there's Creator of the Stars of Night, and Come, Thou Long-Expected Jesus. These are all medieval developments connected with this season. Now, most of us are familiar with the Advent wreath tradition as well. The Advent wreath originated in German Lutheran communities in the 16th century, becoming widespread in its modern form by the 19th century. And certain symbols and parts of it are kind of standard. It's evergreen, symbolizing everlasting life. The wreath, of course, is in circular shape, an image of God's eternity. Typically, 4 candles marking, not surprisingly, the 4 weeks of Advent as we've come to know it. And then there's optionally a Christ candle lit right at Christmas time. So there are certain themes, as you can see, that are associated also with these candles. Typically, hope, peace, joy, and love have often then been associated with the season and with the individual candles. So the Advent season today is a time of sacred intention. We live in a fast-paced world, and Advent offers a kind of countercultural invitation to slow down, and it calls Christians to practice waiting and preparation, reflection, and just joy that's rooted in God's promises as they unfold. So whether observed through daily readings or candle lighting or prayer or acts of service, Advent has the potential to anchor believers in a deeper story than the commercial Christmas narrative typically does. So we have some recommended resources if you'd like to go deeper on this subject. We think you might be interested in these things. The links to Amazon are listed below. There's Watch for the Light, Readings for Advent and Christmas with Plow Publishing. It's a beautiful collection that includes writings from favorite writers like C.S. Lewis, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Thomas Merton, and others, and guides readers into the depth and the wonder of the Advent season. And we have a gentle invitation to you from Atara Group International. We love to be able to provide services to churches. If we can help you to deepen your understanding of the Christian season, biblical history, encouragement in biblical formation, we offer church history workshops, Christian education series of all kinds, Bible study leadership training events, retreat speaking engagements, these kinds of things, Advent and Lenten devotional experiences. We can help with these as well. You can learn more about our services at ataragroupinternational.org.